On August 9, 1986, Freddie Mercury graced the stage for the very last time. His physician had expressly cautioned against performing, citing his deteriorating vocal abilities. In the throngs gathered, a fan's existence would tragically conclude during the rendition of Who Wants to Live Forever. Yet, what unfolded thereafter astonished all observers, from John Deacon's uncharacteristic outburst to Mercury's enigmatic vanishing act post-show. Today, we unravel the true events of Queen's swan song performance. Freddie Mercury entered the world on September 5, 1946, on the island of Zanzibar, a British protectorate. His parents, Parsis who adhered to Zoroastrianism, one of the planet's most ancient faiths, welcomed him into their family. Freddie's birth was marked by peculiarity. He was born with 4 extra teeth, a feature he later credited with bestowing upon him a remarkable vocal range, capable of 4 octaves. His upbringing was a rich tapestry woven from African, Arab, and Indian cultural influences, which profoundly shaped his artistic persona and musical compositions. When Freddie was 17, a pivotal shift occurred. The Zanzibar Revolution of 1964 rendered their environment perilous for families like his, necessitating an escape. With thousands perishing, his family sought refuge in England. Prior to this, however, Freddie spent his formative years in India. At the tender age of 8, his parents enrolled him in St. Peter's, a British-style boarding institution in Panchgani. This school, situated near Mumbai, became a significant nexus in Freddie's young life. It was here he began adopting the name Freddie and where his deep-seated passion for music ignited. A discerning educator recognized his inherent talent, advising his parents to invest in supplemental music instruction, a decision that proved transformative. Within the school's confines, Freddie formed his inaugural ensemble, the Hectics, alongside 4 compatriots. They captivated audiences with renditions of rock and roll anthems by luminaries such as Cliff Richard and Little Richard. Though merely 12 years old, Freddie displayed an innate musical prowess. He also harbored an admiration for Bollywood vocalists like Lata Mangeshkar, whose soaring delivery served as an inspiration for his future stagecraft. Even at this nascent stage, Freddie began harmonizing Western and Indian sonic elements, a characteristic that would later distinguish Queen's distinctive sound. Upon relocating to England, Freddie's family established their home in a modest dwelling in Feltham, near London. Initial adjustments were challenging, yet Freddie remained steadfast in his pursuit of artistic aspirations. In 1964, he commenced his studies at Ealing Art College, specializing in art, and later pursued further education at Ealing Art College. There, Freddie honed his proficiency in graphic design, a skill he would later employ to conceptualize Queen's iconic emblem. To sustain himself, Freddie undertook various menial jobs, including washing dishes at Heathrow Airport. While attending Ealing, Freddie encountered Tim Staffel, a member of the band Smile, which featured guitarist Brian May and drummer Roger Taylor. Freddie forged a camaraderie with them, frequently offering creative input regarding their performances. In 1970, upon Tim's departure from Smile, Freddie assumed the role of lead vocalist. He proposed rebranding the band as Queen, a name he deemed grand and commanding. Their inaugural performance as Queen took place in June 1970 at a charitable event. The ensemble still required a bassist, and after auditioning several candidates, they discovered John Deacon in 1971. Around this juncture, Freddie also opted to modify his surname to Mercury, inspired by a lyric from a composition he had penned. "Mother Mercury, look what they've done to me." Queen did not achieve overnight success. Their debut album, released in 1973, failed to chart in the United Kingdom and barely registered at number 83 in the United States. Their sophomore effort, Queen 2, released in 1974, fared little better, reaching only number 49 in the UK. The band's frustration mounted, but their third album, Sheer Heart Attack, ultimately marked a turning point. It featured Killer Queen, a track that propelled them to stardom, peaking at number 2 in the UK and reaching number 12 in the US. Freddie Mercury composed Killer Queen one evening while seated at his piano. Unusually for him, the lyrical content emerged first, as he typically initiated his songwriting process with melody. The song narrated the tale of an elegant, high-society courtesan. Its distinctiveness lay not only in its narrative, but also in its sonic architecture. Brian May delivered a remarkable guitar solo, employing a sixpence coin as a plectrum, and the band augmented the soundscape through intricate production techniques. While Killer Queen cemented Queen's fame, it also precipitated internal discord. Roger Taylor harbored concerns that its light-hearted, whimsical character might lead listeners to perceive Queen as less than a serious rock entity. In fact, Killer Queen was almost excluded from the album. It was recorded last, and considerable debate ensued regarding its inclusion. Then came Bohemian Rhapsody. Released in 1975 as part of the A Night at the Opera album, this epic composition propelled Queen to superstardom. Its creation was an arduous undertaking, requiring 3 weeks for recording, featuring 180 distinct overdubs, and incurring production costs of £40,000, making it the most expensive song ever produced at that time. The song was unconventional and groundbreaking, comprising 3 distinct movements: a slow, emotive introduction, an operatic interlude, and a forceful rock finale. Executives at EMI expressed skepticism regarding its commercial viability, deeming it excessively lengthy for radio play and urging the band to shorten it. The band adamantly refused. Consequently, their manager surreptitiously provided the track to a popular disc jockey, Kenny Everett, who broadcast it 14 times over a single weekend, eliciting an overwhelmingly positive fan response. The song dominated the UK charts for 9 consecutive weeks. Its popularity surged further in 1991, following Freddie Mercury's passing, remaining at number 1 for an additional 5 weeks. In the United States, its initial impact was less pronounced, reaching only number 9 in 1976. However, in 1992, its inclusion in the film Wayne's World propelled it to number 2. Ultimately, it sold millions of copies, becoming one of the best-selling singles in UK history. Queen also revolutionized the music video landscape. The video for Bohemian Rhapsody was filmed in a mere 4 hours, at a cost of £4,500. Despite its brevity and modest budget, it proved revolutionary. The iconic visual of the band members' faces, arranged in a prismatic formation, was achieved through a technique known as video feedback, establishing a benchmark that rendered music videos an indispensable component of song promotion. Subsequently, Queen continued to produce memorable visuals. In I Want to Break Free, the band donned female attire, drawing inspiration from the British soap opera Coronation Street. The video was both humorous and daring, but MTV imposed a ban on it within the United States. Concurrently, Radio Gaga stood as one of the era's most costly videos, with expenditures reaching £100,000. It incorporated scenes from the film Metropolis, and Queen reportedly paid £100,000 solely for the rights to utilize these clips. Queen's live performances were as spectacular as their visual productions. During their 1975 A Night at the Opera tour, they employed an immense custom lighting apparatus featuring 168 lights and 12 aircraft landing beacons. Its sheer scale necessitated a dedicated generator and protracted setup times. By 1986, for their renowned Wembley concerts, their lighting rig had expanded to encompass over 1,000 lights, including a colossal crown-shaped structure weighing 5 tons. Freddie Mercury's stage presence evolved dramatically over time. In the nascent stages of Queen, Freddie was inherently shy, often remaining behind his piano during performances. The distinctive, truncated microphone stand he famously utilized, lacking its lower portion, originated from an accidental occurrence. One evening, the microphone stand malfunctioned during a performance, but Freddie discovered that the enhanced mobility it afforded him was advantageous, and he continued to use it. Over time, his style grew increasingly flamboyant. In 1973, he began painting his fingernails black, influenced by Jimi Hendrix, and adopted theatrical glam rock attire designed by Zandra Rhodes. In 1976, he debuted his celebrated Harlequin jumpsuit, a form-fitting garment that required meticulous sewing onto his body before each show. By the 1980s, Freddie underwent another significant transformation. He cultivated a thick moustache and embraced a more rugged persona, incorporating leather trousers and military-style jackets. This sartorial shift was influenced by the vibrant gay club scene in New York City. He retained his playful theatricality, as demonstrated in the "I Want to Break Free" video, where he appeared in drag, complete with his moustache, a visual paradox that confused some and ignited controversy. Freddie's stage antics escalated in their audacity as time progressed. During the 1982 Hot Space tour, he began riding on the shoulders of a crew member costumed as Darth Vader while performing. In Japan, he once performed a concert clad solely in shorts, gradually shedding his costume piece by piece throughout the show. Freddie's magnetic charisma and audacious style rendered every performance an indelible experience. Freddie Mercury and Queen navigated a period of substantial stylistic evolution throughout the 1980s. In 1981, the band explored a new sonic direction with their album Hot Space. Freddie and John Deacon were keen to experiment with disco and funk influences, a departure that alienated many fans. The single Body Language, released in 1982, generated further controversy due to its provocative lyrics and music video, leading to an MTV ban. This decision frustrated fans, but Freddie remained committed to exploring new musical avenues. In 1985, Freddie launched his inaugural solo album, Mr. Bad Guy, a project he dedicated 2 years to crafting in Munich, meticulously overseeing every detail. The album was replete with dance-infused tracks and synthesizer arrangements, showcasing Freddie's eclectic creative sensibilities. He even dedicated it to his feline companions, penning, "This album is for my cat Jerry, also Tom, Oscar, and Tiffany, and all the cat lovers in the universe. Screw everybody else." The album achieved a position within the top 10 in the UK, but did not resonate strongly in the US. Nevertheless, it bolstered Freddie's confidence to pursue further solo endeavors. Later, in 1987, he collaborated with the renowned opera singer Montserrat Caballé on the album Barcelona. The title track ingeniously fused operatic grandeur with rock sensibilities, powerfully demonstrating the exceptional breadth of Freddie's vocal capabilities. The song subsequently became the official anthem for the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, a tribute Freddie sadly did not live to witness. Concurrently, Queen faced internal strife. Following the release of Hot Space, they embarked on a tour, but by the conclusion of 1982, a hiatus was deemed necessary. Tensions within the band had escalated. Brian May later confessed to periods of mutual animosity. The situation worsened during the recording sessions for their 1984 album, The Works, when Brian, overwhelmed by frustration, abandoned the studio to contemplate his departure for hours in a park. John Deacon abruptly departed for Bali without prior notification, a move that profoundly surprised the others. Upon hearing the news, Freddie humorously quipped, "Bali high," from South Pacific. External pressures also contributed to the turmoil. In 1984, Queen performed in Sun City, South Africa, during the apartheid era. This decision drew widespread condemnation due to the country's discriminatory laws. The band faced a ban from the Musicians' Union and criticism from the United Nations. Later, during a concert in Rio de Janeiro in 1985, the audience vociferously booed them. Freddie's personal life added to the prevailing chaos. His manager, Paul Prenter, was a significant source of friction within the band. Brian May even avoided naming him in interviews, referring to him simply as the guy who looked after Freddie. Everything shifted on July 13, 1985, with Queen's electrifying performance at Live Aid. Freddie was experiencing vocal discomfort, but resolved to perform regardless. Taking the stage at 6:41 p.m., they delivered one of the most legendary live sets in history. In a mere 21 minutes, they captivated the global audience with condensed versions of their greatest hits, including Bohemian Rhapsody, Radio Gaga, and We Are the Champions. During Radio Gaga, Freddie masterfully engaged the crowd in a rhythmic clap-along, creating an unforgettable spectacle. An estimated 1.9 billion people witnessed the performance on television. Backstage, Elton John famously remarked to the band, "You bastards, you stole the show." This performance revitalized Queen's career and injected renewed dynamism into the group. Following Live Aid, Queen commenced work on a new album, A Kind of Magic, intended as the soundtrack for the film Highlander, a story centered on immortality. Recording began in 1985, incorporating emerging digital technologies to achieve a contemporary sound. The title track, A Kind of Magic, was derived from a line within the film, though Freddie's rendition differed significantly from the original, causing some consternation with Roger Taylor. Another track, Who Wants to Live Forever, was penned by Brian May after viewing a pivotal scene from the movie. Its arrangement featured an 80-piece orchestra, imbuing it with a grand, dramatic resonance. In 1986, Queen embarked on what would become their most ambitious and exhilarating tour to date, aptly named the Magic Tour. It transcended any previous undertaking, encompassing 26 shows across 9 European countries within an 8-week span. The stage design for the tour was breathtakingly immense, spanning 160 feet in width, with 2 extensive walkways extending into the audience. It was one of the largest stages ever constructed, requiring over 8 miles of cabling for its power supply. The video screen, standing 20 feet tall, was so colossal that it necessitated its own generator. The sound system's potency was such that its reverberations could be heard for miles, leading to complaints from residents in nearby villages. On August 9, 1986, Freddie Mercury walked onto the stage at Knebworth Park. It was 6:41 p.m., and he was unaware that this would mark his final live performance with Queen. The assembled audience numbered a staggering 120,000 people. The atmosphere was electric as the opening chords of One Vision resonated. Freddie, clad in his iconic white tank top and tight jeans, exuded confidence, though his physical health was compromised. That very morning, his physician had diagnosed a severely inflamed throat and strongly advised against performing. However, Freddie disregarded the medical counsel, resolute in his commitment not to disappoint his devoted fans. As he sang, "One man, one goal, one mission," his voice faltered momentarily, but the audience remained captivated. Behind the scenes, the band had prepared an alternative setlist, apprehensive that Freddie might struggle with the more demanding songs. However, as the concert progressed, he defied their expectations, determined to deliver the spectacle the audience had anticipated. During Under Pressure, his voice cracked on a high note. Rather than faltering, he turned to the crowd, inviting them to sing along, transforming the moment into something even more profound. At 8:03 p.m., the band launched into Who Wants to Live Forever? This proved to be one of the evening's most poignant renditions, the lyrics resonating with a profound personal significance, as if Freddie were reflecting on his own mortality. Bohemian Rhapsody commenced at 8:17 p.m. Despite being one of Queen's most vocally challenging pieces, Freddie poured every ounce of his being into its performance. He even vocally replicated parts of the operatic section live, a feat typically achieved via pre-recorded tape. He hit a stratospheric note he hadn't attempted in years, eliciting an ecstatic roar from the audience. The concert's concluding number was We Are the Champions. Freddie's voice faltered once more, but instead of receding, he sustained the note with even greater intensity. The crowd's thunderous ovation was audible in adjacent villages. At 8:59 p.m., the band performed God Save the Queen. Typically, this signaled their departure from the stage, but Freddie remained. He stood motionless, eyes closed, as the music swelled. As the final notes faded, Freddie turned to the assembled multitude, bowed deeply, and bid them farewell with, "Thank you, lovely people. Good night and sweet dreams." It was 9:02 p.m. The legendary Freddie Mercury had just concluded his final live performance, yet behind the scenes, the atmosphere was far from celebratory. Backstage, an unexpected scene unfolded. John Deacon, the band's typically reserved and composed bassist, displayed a level of agitation never before witnessed. Merely 18 minutes prior to the show's commencement, he unceremoniously tossed his bass guitar across the dressing room, narrowly missing Roger Taylor's drum technician. Those present were taken aback, given Deacon's 15-year tenure with the band, without any prior outbursts of such magnitude. He later confided in Brian May, expressing his overwhelming feelings. "I can't do this anymore, it's too much." It seemed he harbored a premonition that this might be their last performance with Freddie. Deacon also engaged in a heated discussion with the sound engineer, insisting on adjustments to his bass levels, despite clearly being distraught. Nevertheless, upon taking the stage, Deacon delivered one of the most exceptional performances of his career. Tragically, a somber event also occurred that evening within the audience. A 23-year-old fan, Michael Jennings, collapsed during the rendition of the song "Who Wants to Live Forever?" He had been positioned approximately 50 meters from the stage. Though medical personnel responded swiftly, their efforts to revive him were unsuccessful. He was officially pronounced deceased at 9:43 p.m. as Queen was performing Bohemian Rhapsody. The band remained unaware of the incident until after their set concluded. Jennings suffered from an undiagnosed heart condition, exacerbated by the concert's excitement and the immense crowd of 120,000 attendees. Just 2 days prior, Jennings had secured his ticket through a radio competition. His companion, Sarah, who was with him at the concert, recounted that he was experiencing the pinnacle of his life, repeatedly exclaiming it was the best night ever, before suddenly collapsing. This heart-wrenching event subsequently prompted the implementation of more stringent safety regulations for large-scale concerts in the future. Following the performance, Freddie Mercury departed the stage with unusual haste, a departure from his typical post-show demeanor. He usually relished the post-performance festivities and engaged in conversations with the crew. This time, however, he left almost immediately after the final note faded. His personal assistant, Peter Freestone, later explained that Freddie had received a call from his physician prior to the show concerning his health, undoubtedly a source of considerable anxiety. This, coupled with the physical exertion of the performance, appeared to weigh heavily upon him. In his haste, Freddie even left behind his silver bracelet, an item he had worn for every performance since 1977. A cleaner discovered it later, and it was subsequently returned to him during the journey back to London. During the car ride, Freddie remained silent, gazing out the window and dabbing his eyes with a handkerchief, evidently lost in deep contemplation. At one point backstage, experiencing a moment of vulnerability, Mercury turned to his longtime friend and personal assistant, Peter Freestone, and whispered, "I don't know if I can do this." Roger Taylor also recalled a poignant moment after the show when he found Freddie sitting alone in the dressing room. Freddie looked up at him and said, "Darling, I think I've given it my all." At the time, Roger interpreted this as mere fatigue, but in retrospect, he realized Freddie was signaling a farewell. Taylor now keeps a drumstick from that night in his studio as a memento of their final concert. John Deacon, who largely withdrew from public life years ago, described it as the most challenging performance of his career. He admitted to shedding tears during "These Are the Days of Our Lives," as he felt it might be their last opportunity to play together. For all members of the band, that night felt like the conclusion of an epoch. Freddie Mercury's life was characterized by profound relationships, personal struggles, and unexpected turns. One of the most significant figures in his life was Mary Austin. Through interviews conducted primarily for David W., insights into their relationship have emerged. Freddie first met Mary in 1969, when he was 24 years old and she was 19. Their connection was immediate. They soon fell in love, moved in together, and even became engaged. However, in 1976, Freddie disclosed to Mary that he was bisexual. Mary, with her characteristic calm and directness, responded, "No, Freddie, I think you're gay." This revelation altered the romantic nature of their relationship, but they maintained a lifelong close friendship. Freddie consistently referred to Mary as his one true friend, asserting that no one could ever replace her. His affection for Mary persisted even after their romantic involvement ceased. In 1980, he purchased a flat for her in Kensington, conveniently located near his own residence. In his will, he bequeathed half of his substantial fortune to her, including his mansion. Mary remained a steadfast presence by his side as his health deteriorated, and following his passing, she preserved the secret of his final resting place, honoring Freddie's wishes precisely. Mercury also experienced other significant relationships. He met Jim Hutton, a hairdresser, in 1985, and they remained together until Freddie's death in 1991. However, Freddie's personal life was intricate. He also maintained a close bond with the Austrian actress Barbara Valentin, and the three of them occasionally spent time together. Freddie's romantic entanglements often overlapped, underscoring the complexity of his private life. His struggles with his sexuality and public image were a lifelong journey. Born in 1946, he came of age during a period when homosexuality was criminalized in many regions. He recognized his attraction to men from a young age, but felt compelled to conceal it. When questioned about his sexuality, Freddie would often respond with humor or ambiguous statements, such as referring to himself as gay as a daffodil, a playful method of deflecting the truth. Beyond his musical prowess, Freddie was a dedicated artist. He pursued studies in art and design at college and harbored a passion for painting. Over the years, he amassed a collection of rare and exquisite items, including artworks by Picasso and Dee, as well as Japanese woodblock prints. He also developed a fondness for antique glassware and even commissioned portraits of his beloved cats. These collections adorned his mansion, reflecting his deep appreciation for beauty. Freddie Mercury maintained the secrecy of his battle with AIDS for numerous years, withholding this information from the public and even most of his close confidants. He received his HIV diagnosis in April 1987, though some symptoms may have manifested as early as 1982. During a trip to New York that year, he sought medical attention for a lesion on his tongue, a potential early indicator of the disease. Despite this, Mercury consistently refuted all health-related rumors. The press hounded him relentlessly. British tabloids, particularly The Sun, began publishing speculative articles about Mercury's health in 1986. These reports, amplified by the prevailing fear and stigma surrounding AIDS at the time, likely contributed to his decision to remain silent. Even within Queen, discussions about his condition were rare. Guitarist Brian May stated that they refrained from asking direct questions because Mercury did not wish to discuss it. Only a select few individuals in his inner circle were privy to the truth. His assistant, Peter Freestone, later commented that Mercury had witnessed numerous friends succumb to AIDS, a tragic reality that weighed heavily on his mind. Mercury's affection for his cats often surpassed his interactions with friends. He would reportedly speak to them frequently. He sought to protect himself and those closest to him. Merely one day before his passing, he issued a public statement clarifying his reasons for maintaining his privacy over the years. The public's speculation was fueled by Freddie's gradual physical decline, characterized by weight loss and increasing frailty. On November 23, 1991, he finally revealed to the world that he had AIDS. The following day, he passed away, bringing an end to years of silence and conjecture. Even amidst his severe illness, Mercury's dedication to music remained unwavering. In 1990, Queen recorded the album Innuendo. The band adjusted their recording schedule to accommodate his condition, working for 3 weeks followed by 2-week breaks to allow Mercury to rest. The band was acutely aware of the gravity of his health by then. Brian May recounted that physicians had informed them that Mercury's time was limited, yet Mercury pushed himself relentlessly to continue working. One of the songs, "The Show Must Go On," became a profound symbol of his indomitable spirit. May harbored doubts about Mercury's ability to manage the demanding vocal parts. After consuming a shot of vodka, Mercury declared, "I'll do it, darling," and proceeded to deliver a flawless performance in a single take. Following the completion of Innuendo, Mercury continued his recording efforts. In May 1991, he worked on tracks such as Mother Love, though he was unable to finish it. His final recording session occurred on May 22, 1991, when he laid down vocals for A Winter's Tale, a track later featured on the posthumous album Made in Heaven. Despite battling a terminal illness, Mercury toiled tirelessly to leave behind a musical legacy that would endure for eternity. Freddie Mercury's final public appearance was on February 18, 1990, at the Brit Awards, where Queen received an award for outstanding contribution to British music. Mercury appeared noticeably thin and frail, a sight that greatly concerned his fans. Nevertheless, he attended to honor his band and his devoted followers. On stage, Brian May delivered the majority of the acceptance speech. Mercury's own remarks were brief. "Thank you, good night." These were his last public words, a simple yet deeply poignant farewell. In the concluding months of his life, Mercury's health experienced a rapid decline. By June 1991, he remained largely at his residence in Kensington, West London. Close friends and his former partner, Mary Austin, visited him frequently, offering unwavering support. His condition worsened, leading to vision loss, limited mobility, and prolonged periods spent in bed. On November 22, 1991, he ceased all medication except for pain relief. On that same day, he collaborated with Queen's manager, Jim Beach, to prepare a public statement. This statement was released on November 23, confirming his AIDS diagnosis. Freddie Mercury passed away on November 24, 1991, at the age of 45. The cause of death was pneumonia, a complication arising from AIDS. His partner, Jim Hutton, described his final moments as peaceful, stating that Mercury appeared calm and radiant before his passing. In the aftermath of his death, Mercury's music experienced a surge in popularity. In 1995, Queen released Made in Heaven, an album comprising his final recordings. It achieved worldwide acclaim, selling over 20 million copies. Mercury's legacy continues to flourish. His music has garnered billions of streams, and Queen's Greatest Hits stands as the best-selling album in UK history. Freddie Mercury's extraordinary voice and passionate artistry continue to inspire fans across the globe.